Recording, my friend.
So welcome everyone to the Vince and Zeid Podcast, our first episode. I'm absolutely excited to do this podcast with Vince, one of the friends that for a long time we haven't seen each other, but football, as any sports, connect people, and we were connected with some shitty WhatsApp group, I've got to say.
It's not that shitty, right? Like it gives you perspective on what we'll be talking today. Yeah, football fans.
Definitely. Right. As football fans in general. So let's dive right in, Vince. Let's just go ahead and just.
Yeah, but you got to say it's not the most original podcast name, but who knows? Maybe people will maybe it's a too bearded podcast. We should change it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, something like that. Yeah. Nothing to do with football. Yeah. Yeah.
All right then. So let's just dive right in. Let's introduce yourself to the podcasting world. All of our new followers.
The one we have. That's all good. Probably just Asif. Shout out to the man himself.
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, we knew each other back in the days. Long, over 10 years now, right? Like you were studying in Newcastle, Teesside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I was in Birmingham, going to Villa Park. Just studying, and here we are, many years back, on an impromptu Zoom call, starting a podcast. So no. From Mauritius, cause Creole, Français. We won't do all the swear words in Creole here. Every now and again.
I'm sure it'll come up at some point.
Yeah. Love football. Played football since I was, very young. Started my formation with the dads at Racing Club of Mauritius. I'm sure we played. Well, you were a couple of age groups younger, and then just kept playing throughout uni and out now in Australia. Lucky enough to in playing, for my skill level, what would be the best I could get, which was
go on.
Just
show off. You're allowed to show off.
No, it's just district football in Australia and Sydney, and
still semi-professional football, right?
We get paid with burgers.
I mean,
burgers and beers. No, I'm kidding. But it's listen, it's a good level in the pyramid. Technically, it's few levels down. In terms of amateur football in Sydney, it's the highest level of amateur football. But that's just exactly. If you're going to be a wanker, you might as well play at the pinnacle of where you can play. And all I can claim is one Premier League title and a Champion of Champions New South Wales state champion, which is kind of like the Champions League of New South Wales.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That is
now I've retired to all men's football. Play my mates in over 35s. It's brilliant.
All right. Really? Don't you find that the declining ability is annoying?
No, like the same guys that we used to play in the first team at Linfield Football Club, which is where I played.
But I mean, in terms of ability, you've clearly not got the ability that you had 5-6 years ago. Don't you find that frustrating?
Oh, do I find it frustrating?
Yeah.
I think if you play against your age group, then that's, I'm the youngest of the 35, so I feel a lot better. Still can run the game in midfield, and then that's about that. Yeah. What about yourself?
Were you playing? What position were you playing?
I've played mainly 6 or 8, so midfield, defensive midfield. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I still remember your headed goals. You could head that ball, dude. You could head that ball
for a small guy.
For a small guy, that was very difficult to defend. I remember just hearing the words "colour" me as a defender. I was like, "Oh, should I go for it or not?" But I mean, that
was good fun. Actually, to be honest, the highlight of my footballing career would be playing at Uzzia's back garden in Mauritius.
Yeah, that is quite a special place to play football.
Cricket scores goals, 20 25-20, like
Yeah,
brilliant games.
to be honest, I was centre back, so it's normal to have cricket scores. Yeah, I mean, myself, well, in terms of football, I've been a football maniac ever since I could ever remember. I remember going to school with like fully dressed kit at like 9 years old. I even have a picture of myself, the foot of the class with a fucking kit of Liverpool. And I was like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
So,
what they call yourself, full kit wankers.
Full kit wankers, yeah. Could have done with the shoes though.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, football maniac. I don't have such a glorious footballing career as you, but I was pretty damn serious about. We were pretty damn serious about football. So we used to play. Started with Gymkhana, and I used to be a goalkeeper back then. Save a few penalties, won a few gold medals. So kind of proud of myself. Still hold a gold medal.
Although we knew recently that you were playing 2 years age group below.
But that's besides the point,
a huge dude like you, 12 years old, teenager, playing with under 10 babies. I mean, yeah.
Oh my God. And trust me, I remember going to the dodo for the tournament and we had those eyes of the guys. Everyone was looking, are you sure they're 10 years old? They don't look 10 years old. So, oh my God. Yeah, it was good times. And then obviously along my career, I developed more as a centre back. Because I kind of like watching the play go, being part of the play. There comes a point as a goalkeeper, you're like bored.
Yeah, I mean, seeing you play, you definitely look like Sami Hyypiä.
Yeah, and kind of my organization skills in the yesteryear of football kind of took me where I am today in my company. I still, I was a leader back on the pitch. Kind of considered myself always as a leader because centre back, and I always used to, come at my best when they were like duels, when we had rivalries between, just old people, old, 25, 26 years old, coming to play against me, 15 years old. This is where I would come, at my best because I knew I had a fight going on and
play out of your skin.
Body on the line as a centre back is the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Saving that last ditch tackle, it's definitely.
I like playing with and against you. You could see the passion come out. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I like to organize and make sure that, because the centre back is where basically you dictate the game. This is where you can shout at your keeper if he's going long and being like, dude, just chill. Or you can tell him, just take the ball slow the pace down, we're winning or whatever. You can really have, there's a big role to have as a centre back.
Yeah.
Even at amateur level.
And there's one thing I haven't seen in Mauritius, but you do this all the time, is actually talk and communicate on the pitch. A lot of people don't actually talk that much. It's like quiet.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got to do that. Any field you just have to communicate. But yeah. So this was a bit of my footballing career. And then I developed a bit of a manager, I have to say. In my later years, we used to play 11-a-side. I used to be the one doing the team sheet, explaining the role to everyone. We had some good games under my management, I would say.
What's your ratio? What's your win ratio?
I think
better than Ollie's.
Oh, definitely. Above 60%. I remember there used to be we used to play Umed Rawat's team. Remember that game very well because that was one of my masterstroke tactically, and I played what I would call the revolving door formation. So my three midfield would basically revolve a little bit like a revolving door.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that would create spaces into the half spaces, into the 10. We used a classic 4-3-3. And at that time, honestly, any amateur football, 11-a-side was 4-4-2. And we completely controlled the game.
I mean, how did you manage the team? How did you coach the shape and the movements?
Well,
there's so many steps for your team to gel and actually.
I agree, but we used to play together, so we understood the roles. I knew that, for example, we had Irfan that could easily defend the two spaces. So when my left center midfield would go into that 10 role, then my DM, which is Irfan, he would step and basically cover those two zones.
So you had like a Mauritian Kante.
Yeah, kind of like a Mauritian Kante. And I knew basically he's a dirty player. And I knew that. I knew that he could defend those two spaces. And if he doesn't defend those two spaces, he would foul the guy.
Righto.
So you kind of, and remember that game, I was playing centre back, and honestly, I didn't do jack shit in that game because my formation was so good, they didn't even penetrate the midfield.
Yeah, so you barely played.
Sorry?
You barely played, really.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Just stood there.
Coach them, mate. Coach them. I think Harry Maguire needs to have a few pages from my book.
Possibly.
Yeah.
What about this? This could be fun. I mean, at some point, it's just going to come out that we support certain teams. But what about we don't actually disclose it, and then people, it's a bit more neutral, right?
All right, let's try and be. So, what team do you support? All right, let's jump right in.
The team that's 196 in the world, Mauritius.
196, man.
Something like that, right?
What about San Marino, the one that England beat 10-0? I think they're worse than Mauritius, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, actually, it'd be interesting to see a match, San Marino versus Mauritius. I've always been interested in seeing. I mean, we said at some point we'd speak about Mauritian football, sure. But what I would have been really interested to see about Mauritian football is that they actually had more international games against teams around their level, just to get that game, just actually to get results. I mean, there's no point playing a team that's going to smash you.
Definitely.
Right? So, you might as well just, get a team, build them, create a formation, create a style of play throughout your academy into your seniors team, but then play and actually give the fans in the country a game to watch where the team's winning.
Yeah, that would actually be awesome. And I think we only play really the African continent. I don't see England going to, playing another country apart from Africa. So that would be quite interesting to have Mauritius against San Marino. I bet you that would be interesting.
Maybe, it'd be good to, play Liechtenstein, you Luxembourg, you play a bunch of countries that are here and around it.
Yeah. Not really good, but
challenging enough, a good game.
Yeah.
Close enough so that it's exciting for the fans.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure then the scrimmage makes that you probably improve your football. You still learn from those guys at some level.
Definitely. I think we should definitely get Shakil in. I think he's got a lot of connection with the Mauritian Football Association, and start our case of getting Mauritius to play San Marino.
What a game.
What a game. I bet it'll be a better watch than England versus San Marino.
And what's better, Mauritius San Marino or Mauritius Seychelles? I
think Seychelles, we watch it, Seychelles, Reunion in the Jeux des Îles.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, what's better? You play Seychelles.
Oh, yeah, definitely San Marino. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I think, to be honest, in the Indian Ocean, those guys, they're so close. They might as well play each other, at least, have a regular
competition.
Yeah.
Regular comp,
Yeah. Have a bit of a Nations League of
exactly.
the Indian Ocean Nations League, copyrighted here right now, right?
Definitely, that's a brilliant idea. I think we'll get people on board, get those investors in, and
make it a touristic destination. People go there. Yeah. Watch the football. Anyways, that's enough for the intros, right?
I think we covered ourselves in glory way too much.
Yeah, overstated how good we were.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think you were interested in knowing what makes a great manager.
Yeah, I really wanted to ask that question because it's very difficult for me to not to understand what how do people, or even the media or everywhere, you see a lot of things about trophies and this manager has won this trophy and whatever else. How do you, Vince, how do you define a great manager? What makes you define a great manager?
Oh, I was thinking about this and I'm like, geez, it's so difficult to not disclose which team I support. If I answer the question in the way I was going to answer the question, because in a way I've had the privilege
I agree. Okay.
of being born into managerial glory. So it's No, I'm not speaking about myself. I'm speaking about the team I support and the fact that
definitely. Brian Clough was a brilliant manager.
Brian Clough was a brilliant man.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, who gets Nottingham Forest to win Champions League essentially, right? I mean,
completely.
Yeah.
My dad
it's
is
even better. Who gets
Aberdeen?
Who gets Aberdeen to win?
Yeah,
European Championships.
I actually grew up on the Nottingham Forest glory days with my dad going on and on and on about how great Nottingham Forest was.
Yeah.
You know, it's how do you, let's say,
so your dad supports Nottingham Forest?
Yep.
Oh, now I get why you make so many nice Black Forest cakes. Yeah. Anyways, like, how do I describe it? I think that's just a personal question, right? I guess.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, if you look at yourself as a player, you might vibe more to a certain type of coaching, and I think coaching has a lot of psychology behind it, and a lot of you got to get the best out of your players. I think that's the most important part of coaching. Regardless, you could be the best tactician ever and not be able to get the best out of your players. And I think there are only a few managers that can understand the psychology and I guess who their players are in terms of human beings and what makes them tick. And I think being able to adapt and being flexible, people call this good man management. Yeah, but I think more so like it's understanding who you got in your team, what their strengths is, what their weaknesses are, and then being flexible as a coach and manager to build a team. Not necessarily based. I don't like teams that are based around individuals. I like teams that actually play as teams.
Yeah.
So I like managers that can, essentially look at players. They might not be world beaters, but turn them into world beaters, and actually have succession plans and think ahead and also adapt their formations depending on who they play against and who they don't play against. I think conceptually that's what I probably look for in a manager.
Yeah.
Okay. The traits would definitely be adaptability and understanding and tactical flair. Yeah, that's probably
that is something quite intangible, right?
Right. Yeah.
How do you put it, not on paper, but how do you rate how good a manager is based on those criteria?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I had football's changed now. There's no real time to assess a manager really, and there's very little time for new managers to actually build their own understanding in highly competitive leagues, because you get sacked after shit results straight away. So like, how do I make that tangible in terms of like who I like? I think, well, superficially, I guess I'd like people that come in and can switch a team around and play a formation, have a style of play, have a philosophy that they implement, and just, it's good football to watch. So for me,
who would be those great managers right now in the world of football?
For me right now, I just love looking at Pep.
Okay. So for you, Pep is the greatest manager. Is a great manager.
I think I just enjoy what he does, and especially this year, you've really seen like Pep work his magic in terms of not having a designated centre forward, but still making his team quite lethal. I mean, I just love how he innovates in tactics. If you look at Walker and Cancelo, and this whole thing about like playing your left right back, your fullbacks inside, and creating space in your front three. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm right or wrong here. He seems to have been the first one to kind of like work on this. I just like dynamic coaching, so high press. As a football watching person, that's what I'd say. Yeah, I don't look at people ability to be good managers, if that was kind of your underlying question as to how many cups they might have won.
So let us assume in a world where Pep is playing that type of football, he's winning his games, most of the games, but he never comes out with a trophy. There's always 1 point in it. He he fucks up in the Champions League,
Yeah.
would he still be considered as good as he is today? Or would you consider him as
Yeah,
good
I can't get the name of the guy who was Blackpool's coach when they won the Premier League and got relegated.
Exactly. Ian Holloway.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't mind watching what Blackpool play because they were actually playing,
he made Liverpool play 15 million for Charlie Adam. So he's got something in him,
Yeah. He probably wouldn't be classified as he wouldn't be in anyone's mind as a manager or a coach, but even you look at Graham Potter right now, he might not win anything in his career, but I think it's just a means. I think Pep's privilege, right? He's played in Barcelona. He's well famous in that way. He's had doors open for him. Like he's got
we take the piss out of Pep because we say he's a checkbook manager and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he is dealing with prima donnas. He's dealing with top elite players.
Yeah.
And you've got to have something in you to be able to tell when it's Aguero, I'm benching you and bring him in another way, whatever it is. What he does is actually, for me personally, I think he's one of the greatest manager out there. There's no doubt about it. And whether he comes from a privileged background or he's got the checkbook, because at the end of the day, look at PSG. They can sign whoever they want, but they're still struggling to actually crack the Champions League or crack. So it's.
But at the same time, I think Klopp's great. Klopp's transformed a team that wasn't performing with not as much money as Man City. I mean, that's the way he plays is a bit disappointing last year, to be honest, that they didn't challenge as much because I guess one of their main players wasn't available.
Yeah.
And I was hoping he'd maybe work around it, but there's always the pressure of backing up from a title challenge, winning the Premier League and defending it, and it definitely wasn't the best.
But what I enjoyed is even though Klopp struggled, he found a solution. It took him a month to find a solution. It started with trying to play centre mid in defence with Fab and Henderson. Sometimes Wijnaldum played centre back. And then he took a month to really train the two youngsters, Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. And when he got them into the team, this is when the team started to perform and they went on the run and they got the top four.
Yeah.
So this kind of basically manages a problem solver. As simple as
but I also like them to see managers that think outside the box and actually can promote academy players. Yeah. You've got all those big teams that attract the better players of the younger players of their generations, and it's kind of like when you think about it, not very few of them actually make it in the first team.
It is quite impressive how many, out of 20 teams, 20 players in a youth team, there's maybe one or two that makes it.
So it's great to see guys like Reece James come through, and there's guys just like amazing. So Tuchel's doing okay. I think he's a good coach. I wasn't necessarily fully impressed by him in the first. I think he's proved me wrong this year, definitely.
All right. But I still think I honestly feel he's still in his honeymoon period.
Yeah, possibly, but he's.
And winning the Champions League was like, when you're on your honeymoon and you get the baby, in 9 months you get another honeymoon period, and then you're gonna get the baby, Yeah. So it was just an extension of the honeymoon. So let's see. He's not had a blip yet.
Yeah.
This is when we really rate managers, is when they have a blip.
Yeah, but I don't know if managers are allowed to have blips nowadays. That's the problem. I'm kind of against that. I think if you let's say if Klopp had a massive blip in one season, would you just, if he were sitting like mid-table,
Yeah.
would Liverpool sack him? I mean, that's a...
Well, personally, no. Personally, I would not sack him, but I'm not in the football world to know what other clubs doing. But I think, look, even let's go for an Ole. He had a massive blip before signing Bruno, and he managed to turn that around. We all thought that it was gone. He's gone. In 2 games, he's gone, and he goes and signs Bruno and changes his style, and boom, he's back on the up.
Yeah.
Think of that Southampton manager, Ralph Hasenhüttl. He gets spanked 9-0 and at the back of losing 3 or 4 games. But the board gives him the ability to change him around, and they finish 9th or 8th that season.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think there are definitely knee-jerk reaction, but I think it's becoming less and less, and the stats are actually starting to come up where the new manager bounce is about 5-6 games, but then the average points kind of becomes the same for the team pre a departure and post a new arrival, and teams are less likely to go and sack their manager willy-nilly.
Yeah, I mean, but you say that at the same time, we've had, 3 or 4 managers sacked in the Premier League already?
Yeah, true that. But I'm talking about, I start like proper, like say the 10, 12 Premier League club that wants, most sacking, I would say, are not because of results, more because of an identity or wrong hiring.
Yeah, not well thought to fit the club's culture or the place.
Exactly, and once he gets in, they're like, okay, let's give him 6 months, and the results are just the excuse to get him sacked. But they wanted to get him sacked 3 months ago, but they thought no, let's give him because of the fans of whatever it is. But there are some appointment, like we all know that Benitez at Everton is not going to work.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it just cannot work. The fans are already against him. When he's winning, okay, they might say, okay, let's go. But the second the result turn, you know that he's out.
I'm interested to see Eddie Howe at Newcastle. With money.
But this also, we're talking about academy players coming up. I'm very disappointed in terms of those young coaches that comes to the scene. But there's always a ceiling. I always feel like it's a bit like Ole, when everyone was telling, okay, he's reached his ceiling. And I feel that those new managers, let's say the Brendan Rodgers, the Eddie Howe, even Arteta, all those new young managers, the feeling that I have or I get is that they have that ceiling.
Yeah, but that's an interesting concept, Like, I mean, if you look at, and a lot of people I've seen say, they look at people's like essentially people managing as a job, right? So you have KPIs and this and that, etc., right? But then some aspects of it they look at as a job. Other aspects they're like, oh, someone's got a ceiling. I mean, let's say if you were working right now and we said, okay, you've maxed your productivity, you've got a ceiling.
Yeah,
you would disagree with this because life is a lifelong learning process. So I think that's the problem. I don't really get people that say that someone's reached a ceiling, because especially young managers, because they need that experience and they need that experience to become better managers. And some people are better, maybe quicker at learning or have generally a natural ability to do that quicker. But otherwise you're not giving the chance. And maybe someone like Ole should bounce back in a mid-table club or even in Champions.
I just feel if a manager goes down to a mid-table club, this is where they get completely lost and out of sync.
Yeah, or we'd go to Championship, I mean,
yeah,
or go to a different country where the level is not bad. I mean, like somewhere like, if you look at Portugal, Scotland, Holland, maybe
elsewhere and come back.
Yeah,
that's basically you're saying.
Yeah, just get some experience of like winning and what it means to win. I think knowing how to win is is different. Like you need to know how to win. Yeah. In any case, you haven't told us what your take is. You know, what makes a good manager for you, apart from yourself.
Oh, okay. Completely. We started off about manager. We went on to judging all those other managers one by one.
We're not judging. We're just making comments, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah. This is the other thing I have to say. You know, I mean, who are you, I, or anyone else to?
Yeah, definitely. We're just two passionate football fans.
Yeah.
We just want to talk and share our views on the world, and obviously, listeners might disagree, and we actually adore the fact that you guys disagree. So send them comments in.
Slate us. But the thing is, you know, it's kind of funny when you read comments. Oh, this person is like inept at managing. Someone managed a Premier League club, and you have comments of saying, you know, he didn't get great results. Like, sure, it's like you've got 20 clubs in the Premier League, so you're in the 20 most privileged managers to ever manage in the league. You know, I mean, people need to kind of reflect a bit in terms of when they say,
and it's a question of relativity, I think. Yeah. Because they are being judged against the cream of the cream and the very best. We're lucky in the Premier League. We have one of the greatest team of managers that we've ever had. You know, I don't think we've ever had what we would consider as the best managers in the world all in front of our eyes.
Yeah, listen, and I think they're definitely gems in other leagues that I think if you look at, and this is why I said it's interesting, a lot of the good managers in the Premier League cut their teeth and learn how to win in leagues where they maybe had less pressure and more opportunity to actually learn their trades. I think when you come in the Premier League, unless you're an established English manager and you know the culture, anyone else coming in, what we're looking at, Klopp didn't manage in England initially. Pep did not. Tuchel did not. So there's a pattern there where I think you're cutting your teeth somewhere else.
I think you may be hitting on something, because definitely for those young British manager that we kind of had high hopes, because obviously we being so close to England, we kind of want to see this breed of managers. I just feel that there is a lack of development somewhere that they need probably to go abroad. Like Eddie Howe, if Newcastle didn't get a new ownership, I don't think he would have gotten a top 8 job.
Yeah, and I think he'd do a great job in a different league.
Yeah, I completely agree, because he's a brilliant manager. He's absolutely brilliant. And when they were relevant and doing well, I think he refused the Arsenal job or something, or he was heavily linked with the Arsenal job. But the minute that Bournemouth gets relegated, Eddie Howe is no longer relevant. Which for me is why I asked you the question, what makes a good manager? And
that's why I raised Eddie Howe's name, because I mean, how many managers do you know? I mean, for me, he's a great manager. Again, he's taken Bournemouth from what? League Two?
League Two.
Yeah. And then all the way up to the Premier League and stayed there for a while until Callum Wilson couldn't score goals anymore, because
Exactly.
and now he's stuck with Wilson again.
Exactly. Yeah. He might get a second life, and Wilson will give him a second life as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've got a soft spot for Newcastle much before I was bought them, so kind of always followed them.
Was it because of Geordie Shore or something? Is that what it was?
I love that show.
And you've got lived experience, so that's good.
Yeah, just because I studied in Newcastle, and at that time they were in the Championship, so I used, the tickets were like peanuts. It was like 4 quid or 5 quid with the student discount. So we used to go and have fun with the Geordies. So kind of. But anyway.
So in a nutshell, before we move to the next topic, what makes a great manager?
I think that in a nutshell, for me, it's definitely not about trophies. I don't like the fact that managers are judged only by trophies. I think it's definitely in everything. You've got KPIs and whatever things, but it's how the difference between, let's say, the first year that they take a team and the year 4. It's a 3-year project where you could see a team develop and get an identity, where you can see some sort of team cohesion, and that in a 3-year period, there's enough blips in the road where the manager have the opportunity to turn things around. And for me, one of the most underrated manager right now must be when it's Poch at PSG. For me, he is definitely one of the for me, he's a world-class manager. Just what he did at Spurs, the way that he, or even Southampton before Spurs, the way he promoted youth. Most of the English talent in the England squad at some point in time were managed by Poch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that Southampton team got picked apart. Spurs team, well, I think it just came a point where it didn't work anymore for him. But he got to a Champions League final with a Spurs team that is, you know, finished, I think, 8 or 9 the next season when he was not here. So definitely, for me, it's about self-development, how the coach develops, but how his team develops with him.
Mm. And you say someone we forgot, definitely Claudio Ranieri. He's, you know, for him to have done what he's done with Leicester, I agree,
but for me, Ranieri is not a great manager, and he will never be.
No, but he's done something that seemed impossible, right?
Yeah, but like it's a bit like a hit song, you know. Macarena was a brilliant song, but it was for a year. Okay, but if you want to say great artists, you look at the Beatles; they've done it for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a fair point, yeah. But I mean, again, I don't think you can win the Premier League without some level of.
I agree.
Imagine if you won the Premier League and then someone.
I would gloat about it until the day I die.
and then two guys from a small island are going, oh, well, this guy, you know, forget about it. Yeah.
I agree, but my point is because my definition of a great manager is more on longevity, and it's more on sustainability and developing the whole team. Look at, for example, Klopp at Liverpool. It's not only about the team today. He is behind a lot of things that is going on towards the club. Today, the training ground, they're all together. The youth team and the senior team both train together. This comes from the manager. So it's not only about what you see on a Saturday at 3:00 when you're turning on YouTube. Yeah,
so culture is everything. It's and I think, I mean, you do throw away Claudio somehow, but he's made Kante who Kante is, and he's made Mahrez who Mahrez is, and he's made, you know, Jamie Vardy's at a party all the time. So
I would not say, you know, he did a phenomenal job, and it was a fairy tale.
Yeah,
but it stays a fairy tale story for a reason.
Yeah. You're right. I can't think of any other managers right now.
Yeah, all right. Let's go. Let's talk about what went wrong at the club that don't seem to get any managers right.
Yeah, who knows? I understand they've just got someone for 6 months.
All right. How does that work? It's very unusual in football to get someone for 6 months. I think the only thing I can remember is Rafa at Chelsea. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe.
I've heard of interim jobs for like 6 months but going out and employing someone for 6 months, I've never heard of that apart from the Rafa.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the question is, what do we think of Oli? And what do we think of Oli? I mean, when Oli came in 3 years ago, in one of the WhatsApp group chat we had, I was a bit disappointed, to be honest. You know, get Mourinho out, who is not doing well anyways, a bit toxic, and get Oli in. And I love Oli as a player, clearly, for what he's done. But and I think even as a player, he was quite underrated. But as a coach, you know, Cardiff, Molde, what was he going to bring? But I have to say, though, that he's done a lot better than I thought he'd do.
I think he definitely did above expectation what was expected to him from the general Man United fans. When he was given the contract, I don't think no one expected a finishing second in the league, or just getting the fucking transfer right.
Yeah, I think that's a listen. Most people will tell you that he's kind of brought back the culture. He's brought back things that, again, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? To live in the past and bring, I guess general culture.
I don't think it's about living in the past. I'd say it was more about when Jose left, the toxicity at Man United was not only at players level. It was at fans level. It was at board level.
Yeah.
I think what Ole did, it brought everyone together, fans and the team.
And then divided
Why I'm saying that, it reminds me a lot when Roy Hodgson left Liverpool and Liverpool went on and got a fan favorite, which was Kenny Dalglish.
Yeah.
Okay, and he came on, and obviously it was, for me, it's very similar. He came and he brought the fans together with the players. He was not a great manager. We were playing 4-4-2. And if you ask the players, I was reading an interview where they were like, oh, trading, it was 5-a-side. That was it. Proper old school. But he put in place a lot of the foundation today that Klopp is using. But the difference is Liverpool board sacked him after winning the League Cup and I think a finals of the FA Cup. But they had already made the idea in their head that Kenny was a 2-year job. He's here to do that. And that's it.
Mm.
So if Kenny had stayed on for another year, the toxicity that you see at Man United level, I think that would have been felt by the Liverpool fans as well. And there would be another rift against the board players and fans.
Yeah. Listen, I think Oli did a great job. He got United back on track in a way. Definitely, people say he's not tactically gifted. Maybe that showed more in games where maybe winnable games, mostly against not the top 6 teams. It was probably against the low block teams that he wasn't able to kind of crack that. Interestingly, last year, playing away, he found a way of making it work. So, yeah. Listen, he got to a couple of finals, choked. Is it his fault?
I don't like the word choked. I don't like the word choked because a final is a final.
Yeah,
we all know that.
Is it the players or is it him? Tactically, people could argue. I think when you get to penalties and hit 12 penalties in a final, you might as well flip a coin.
Yeah. I agree, but a final, for me, it stays a final. You never know. A wrong referee decision, a pen, or whatever it is. Any team in a final, for me, goes in 50-50.
Yeah.
Whether it's Real Madrid versus Bournemouth, it's a 50-50.
Yeah, but the manager who loses, people are going to criticize him, saying, "Oh, you didn't get your tactics right, or you didn't do this right." Again, you got to one, manage a final to know how it feels, and two, either play a final to know how it feels. And often, it's the person who wants it the most on the day who wins.
Yeah, but as I said, there are external factors as well that we cannot not say. Whether it's referee decision or things.
Yeah.
It's a final.
So the question is, should United have sacked Oli? I don't know. Honestly, I think if they were gonna sack him at the end of the year and get someone else in new, I'm only speaking in hindsight now because
definitely.
Because they've sacked him, they had really no plan. They got carried to do a midweek game.
Yeah.
Carrick's got the best United ratio win rate, 100%. Right? So in everyone's stats now, he can be top. But then you get Rangnick in. Some people know him. A lot of people don't know him.
Yeah.
For 6 months, maybe it's a good decision. Who knows? I don't know.
I just don't know, like a player. Tell you the manager's coming and he's here for only 6 months. How do you think the player feels?
It depends what kind of player you are, right? Like I think when I played, I loved there were some coaches and managers that I loved, and I just wanted to I like that security, right? They know me, they know how I play, they know when I'm getting in form, and essentially it's just game management and people management is a lot better. You have this open relationship with someone, right? But that's because maybe I got on with the coaches that I played with. But I think if you don't get on with someone, that's a new opportunity for you. Right.
Yeah, but it's still 6 months. It's like, let's say, for example, Jesse Lingard.
Yeah.
He's got 6 months left in his contract.
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph comes in and, let's say, for the first 2 or 3 training session, made his mind up on Jesse, being like, you won't play, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Jesse will be like, all right, I'm just going to sit here and wait until my contract expires to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I don't know many managers that would come in and probably pick Jesse Lingard in their first 11 at United.
I mean, he's proven in West Ham how good of a number 10 he is.
Yeah, but again, if West Ham had the chance to play Fernandes or Jesse Lingard, who would they play?
I mean, you just, for me, I can only judge on what I saw in terms of how he played against for West Ham, and for me, he was their best player without a shadow of a doubt.
No, he was class, of course. I mean, no one can do what he did.
Thinking about Man City paying 100 million for Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Jesse Lingard is not that far away from Jack Grealish.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Unpopular opinion.
What we should do is we should try to get Jack Grealish on this podcast.
Yeah, I think so. I think
and ask him that question. And,
would you play Jesse or yourself?
Yeah, correct. Who do you think is better, right? Yeah.
But I'm taking Jesse Lingard as one of the examples, right? But for me, I'm just thinking, being in a dressing room and getting told that there's someone coming for 6 months only.
Yeah.
It feels weird, and it's du jamais vu.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Yeah, hard to know what's going to happen, but if their plan is to move him into a consulting role, in which they say, this is what I say, right? For me, if they're going to do what they had to do now, they might as well just keep Oli until the end of the year. And if United finishes mid-table,
I agree, because Ralph will come in 6 months. It's impossible to pack all your ideas, your footballing ideas in.
Now we've said this today, is the 26th of November.
Yeah.
In May, if United are in a UCL final, because the thing is they have the squad for it, and now you're in knockouts, and knockout is just knockouts, right?
Man, come on.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, knockouts on knockouts.
I agree, and you never know what road leads to the final, and that could probably be Man United and Ralph. But
no, I'm saying we were saying this today. What can he do in 6 months? He could. He definitely not winning the Premier League.
Okay. Let's say he does win the Champions League. Great.
Yeah.
For a night, all Man United fans get pissed drunk, and they're the happiest fans in the world, and they're top of Europe.
Nothing different from Chelsea winning the Champions League last year, or Liverpool winning the Champions League in 2005.
Yeah, but let me finish my point. Is that one night amazing?
Oh.
When you wake up the next day, let's say you got to go and find a new manager.
Yeah.
All right. You start back to square one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The long-term planning is still not here. You will still not have an identity of playing football.
Yeah.
What I mean is, you might win the Champions League, but your problem will still be there tomorrow, the next day.
Yeah, it depends if they got
the Champions League trophy. Yes, it feels better with the Champions League trophy. I get that.
Yeah, but it depends who they get lined up after him, right?
But my point is,
okay, what about, put it this way, right? Let's put it this way. What if he does do well and wins something? Do they extend his contract? Is that the option then? Okay, he goes there, he puts it 6 months, he wins. Let's say he does win something.
Okay, no, but then
on the off chance that it happens, what happens?
it's going to be a never-ending cycle of you guys looking for interim manager who might beat PSG in the semi-final and then get him an extended contract. And the next year is where you'll be like, oh shit, now he's going to try and implement his long-term strategy, because for the 6 months, he was just filling the gaps. He was just trying to find solution he was firefighting.
Mm.
Okay? While firefighting, you can climb up upon the tallest of building. But then you're giving him a contract and tell him, okay, you have to build the tallest building now, which is a completely different job.
Yeah, and he's done all right at, Yeah, he's done all right in previous jobs, right? Hoffenheim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a great. I just don't know him that well. I know his style of football and all his influence. But for me, at 68 years old,
man, you got to do okay, right? Like he's bought Leipzig.
Yeah, I mean, no, he's a good manager. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good manager. It's just that, what does Man United want? If he was that good, Vince, okay, if he was that good, why doesn't he get a 3-year contract?
Again, have they lined up Pochettino to come back?
So what happens if he does win the Champions League and Poch is back available?
Yeah.
Just like when Ole finished lost the final of the Europa.
Yeah.
For me, that was the perfect opportunity to get Poch.
Yeah, maybe we should shout out to Ed Woodward. He could maybe comment below, like, I don't know,
Ed Woodward.
Yeah.
Apparently he's staying for another year because it's student stable. So, and he needs a bit more paycheck, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, if Ed's listening, he can just put a comment in and tell us what his plan is. Right? There's nothing better than hearing it from the horse's mouth.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Oh Anyways, Ollie.
I'm losing battery.
Point being is, so Zed's just come back. He's just had to toilet emergency. So yeah, was it this Dalpuri you ate on Sunday?
Oh,
yeah. How good is? I haven't eaten Dalpuris for ages, man. I'm like craving for one.
I'm more of a roti guy than a Dalpuri.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, you look like one.
Brilliant.
Anywho, so yeah, listen, United will sort themselves out. They haven't made good decisions. Some people are saying that's the best decision they've made in years. We'll see, right?
Yeah, we'll see. But it's interesting times, and I think that, let's say that they're going to play the modern football.
Yeah.
Or they're going to try and play the modern football.
Yeah, I'd love to see how Greenwood, Rashford, Sancho, all those guys. I mean, there's a lot of pace in United's front line.
Yeah,
there's a lot of pace, and I think there's a lot of creativity, and I actually want to see how he integrates Van der Beek in the team, because Van der Beek's for me, has got one of the greatest footballing minds, but he just never uses it. Yeah, so I think
how good can Van der Beek be?
I don't know how good he can be, but when he was playing for like Amsterdam, like his footballing mind, you can see he's thinking of football is actually class, and I think it's about him being in the right position. I think his runs, his movement, his passing, before he receives the ball, all of that stuff.
He's a very intelligent player.
Correct. I think he reads the game really well, and I think he actually is a few steps ahead of what the game's going to do. And
I think one of the players for Man United that for me was had the best footballing brain, and I don't understand why they sold him, was Daley Blind.
Daley Blind, yeah. Probably not because where you'd play him what, defensive midfield or
probably. He doesn't really have a set.
Or centre back, yeah.
He's a Jimmy Milner. You can put him everywhere. And stands.
Yeah, but I think one of his main weaknesses was the fact that he wasn't quick enough.
Yeah.
And I think finding a role in the Premier League where you don't have that speed. I mean, that's probably why Matic struggles. Even if you look at the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League, they're all quite quick.
The modern one, maybe, yeah.
I mean, Declan Rice is probably I mean, apparently he's quite quick.
Declan Rice is world class.
Yeah, but he's probably the slowest of all of them, right? I mean, and that's the guy, and I'm going to piss people off here. That's the guy they should have bought at United rather than Ronaldo. And I think it is possible that if Declan Rice was at United rather than Ronaldo, maybe Oli would still be around.
I agree, but Vince, Ronaldo, the Ronaldo situation is like, I don't have the exact word for it, but the Ronaldo situation is like.
Well, we said we were going to talk about it. I was just making a point here. I'm just saying that if I was...
I find the right words to tell you what I feel, but basically it's whether you go right or left, you're going to lose. Because if Ole says no to Ronaldo, he goes to City, and Hughes fan goes on how she should have gotten Ronaldo, and you're sure Ronaldo would have hinted being like, oh, man, you refused me.
Yeah.
And if he gets Ronaldo, he gets a player that was not in his plan. And I completely agree with you. Declan Rice would have definitely helped Man United.
Oh, I mean, the stats actually are against of what we're saying right now, but that's his role. He's got to score. But the question is, would Cavani have scored those goals, or would Greenwood have scored those goals, or would it be more of a team contribution goal-wise?
If you were manager and you're being like, you have the chance to sign Cristiano Ronaldo, or he goes to your arch-rival Man City.
Yeah.
What do you do? And it doesn't cost you anything.
Oh, he's in a pickle for sure. He's in a, you know, he's 100% pickle, right? Like so your best bet here is to say, yeah, Ronaldo, come over here.
You know honestly what that decision feels for us, Mauritian. It's a bit like when you go to vote.
Yeah.
Pity.
Yeah.
You lose both sides.
Yeah, watch out. You know that they might just cancel this podcast if you speak to them. In any case, the point is, yeah, you're right. It's a poison chalice, right? Either way, you're gonna have to drink it, and you're gonna die somehow.
Yeah,
and yeah, it is exactly what happened. So I'd like to see what Rangnick does with Ronaldo and how he builds his team either around him or actually has the balls to go, listen, I'm just going to give you, you know,
10, 15 minutes.
You'll have a full game every now and again, but we'll play you for 20, 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. And, you know, he could be I say he could be. He probably will be a really good impact player.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, having Ronaldo as an impact player.
I think as a centre back, you know, Ronaldo comes off the bench. You're like, you got 20 minutes left, and you've been run ragged by Rashford or Greenwood or someone else. I think
for me, it was more about the fact that I don't know what all the terms of Ronaldo, but you cannot tell a 36 years old that he's guaranteed to start every game.
Yeah, that's why I moved to 35 football, because then I'm guaranteed to start, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, so I mean, we'll speak about Ronaldo some other time, and maybe get some guests that have some.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
Maybe some spicy views, because we're too kind of like nuanced about him, right? We see the good, we see the bads.
Yeah, I think
it is what it is.
Completely.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got a few, got a few minutes. Title chase, the EPL.
Oh, there's gonna be.
Is there a chase?
Is there not a chase?
I always love. So this is the part of the year that I love watching what happens, because that's what I think defines the title race.
You are so cliche.
Call it as you wish, but you know, someone said squeaky bum times. I mean, this time where you got high volume. The reason I say this is that you got a high volume of games and many points, way more points to win or lose in a shorter amount of time. And how big is your squad? How deep is your squad?
Yeah.
As a manager, how do you prioritize? What you prioritize? I think there's a lot more.
When was Lampard sacked? Was it in November?
No, I can't remember. Yeah, my memory's not that good. But put it this way.
My point is that Tuchel first December in England?
I don't know. I mean, we all know what happened to Pep's first December.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's it's cliche, but I think it's got merit in the sense that in England, typically titles are won.
So he signed it on the 26th of Jan. So that means that this is the first Boxing Day for Tuchel.
Yeah.
And now this is where I'm planning the blip.
Okay, all right.
Because, it's not like anywhere in Europe.
Yeah, we should open a betting shop. We'll take bets on Tuchel's. When is Tuchel blips happening?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's the nature. It's the law of nature. At some point in time, they will have to blip. And I think that December will be the defining period for Chelsea. Can they run away with it? Or are Man City and Liverpool still in it?
I mean, at the moment, I think Liverpool, Man City is still in it, well in it.
Yeah. I think there's 4 points into them. For me, Man City are definitely ready to pounce because they can go on a run of 16, 17 wins on the bounce. Boom, boom, boom. They could lose 2 or 3 games, but come Jan, even if they're like 5 or 6 points, I still fancy Pep City because they have this knack of just getting results on the bounce. Once they get into their groove and their momentum, they're absolutely impossible to stop.
Yeah. The only thing with Man City is who's got more depth. I think Chelsea has definitely way more depth in the final third.
Yeah.
Man City, they lose Jesus.
Yeah, but you say that, but then Kevin De Bruyne comes back, or there's always some way Pep finds a way.
Correct. He's got to change his formation to adapt it so that he's still lethal. But that happened, I can't remember when, year before maybe, like he was struggling to score goals.
Yeah, I remember that.
So Aguero was injured and So
if only they had Ronaldo.
maybe they can learn him. You never know.
Definitely.
But I mean, there's way more options in Chelsea, I think, in the final front.
Yeah, but I'm not necessarily a big fan of squad depth being the only way to ride this December or Jan wave.
You got to make sure you don't get injuries. You got to.
Yeah, but just the fact that if you're going to take out your best player in any team, in any of those 3 teams, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, I think Chelsea here just struggle less. I think. I mean, they already lost.
Best player. I think they don't have a best player.
No, they've already lost Chile. Chilwell's gone, right?
Lukaku has been missing. No one has missed him.
Yeah, exactly. So,
what a flop! What a bloody flop!
But that shows you. And I think there are a few guys like Ziyech hasn't hit his peak yet, and when he's playing well, he provides regular assists. I think Kai Havertz hasn't also hit his peak, nor even Mason Mount. That's and Pulisic goes on a run every now and again. Like he scores, he goes like for 7 games where he just scores every game.
Nacho. They've got those purple patch for 7 or 8 games, and then it's done.
And then Pulisic has been like that like the last few seasons. Those are the kind of players you want to. We should add next time a bit of FPL.
I think so.
Yeah, or maybe we should do a shorter midweek FPL one, like a 15 minutes one.
FPL pod. Yeah,
anyways,
actually, I do want to touch on the FPL.
Yeah, but point being though, I think it's hard to say that a title race is run, and clearly, I would still keep all 3 of them.
All right, who would be your favorite right now? On the spot.
I actually truly like Liverpool.
All right, okay, that's interesting.
It is,
Man City.
You like Man City?
Yeah, my favorite would be
City. I do like the chances of Liverpool.
All right.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. I think they're doing well with not much right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we shall see. I'm sure it will change every month. Our favorite, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I just have a feeling. I think Chelsea might kind of fizzle out a bit.
yeah, I do have.
Yeah.
I share that feeling. That's why I'm saying that. Yeah, but they're fucking impressive right now. I mean, I saw them play
Best team right now for sure.
against Juventus. They were like mind blowing.
Yeah, but watch this weekend. I'm just going to say, if the podcast goes out before the weekend, which probably it won't, but
I mean, we'll try and get it out. We'll try and get it out.
But it might. Someone text me or let me know on Monday morning or something.
Excellent. Well, I think we've kind of wrapped up what we.
Yeah, we were just going to speak about football fans and the rise of keyboard warriors, but it's just added some spice to all the commenting. It's great to see. The one thing that, and it's great to have that decentralization of opinions, 100%. And I guess you pick to choose who you want to listen and watch. I just think it's just so black and white.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just so emotional, which I guess is part of football. It's just so black and white, and I think people just say things to say things sometimes, and like, sure. What I like about chatting about football is that kind of more civilized conversation, but also discussing tactics, true tactics. If someone says someone is a bad tactician or doesn't have tactics,
what do you mean by that?
Then back it up, right? Like,
Exactly. Just don't say, "Oh, look at that game" or that game. Yeah. It definitely doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I think I resonate with you, and for me, it's a lot of comments, or even if you go on Twitter or whatever, is people want to create a reaction.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comments out there just to create a reaction or just to be, sort of edgy, but with not a lot of baggage.
Substance. There's no substance.
Exactly. No substance, and no.
It's quite inconsistent.
It's exactly, and for me, it's a bit like there's. How do you tell you that? Football is a lot more than what we see or what we realize, and we don't even give the manager that are like you said, the 20 best managers in the fucking league with 20 teams. They see the players day in, day out, and at no point does the fan come and try and understand it from the perspective of the manager.
Yeah.
It's a lot like, for example, that Man United way. I'm really sorry, but the Man United way, for what, 15 years, 20 years that Ferguson has been there, you guys have changed style of play every 4 or 5 years. He's adapted to the new way. The Arsene Wenger came in. There's been a lot of adaptation.
Yeah.
So let's play like we used to play under Fergie. What does that fucking mean?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what someone knows about Fergie's style of play.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a good question, right?
That's a completely good question. And I would even raise the bar and ask him, would Fergie's style of play win games today?
I don't know. We should get Fergie on the podcast.
We're gonna get everyone on that fucking pod.
Yeah. He's not doing much right nowadays. He might as well. The only thing is we need a closed captions translation because I don't think I'll get what he says.
Come on. Your Australian accent is even worse, dude.
You tell me.
But yeah. So I honestly I'd like to see a little bit more comprehension from football fans, especially towards whatever team they support, or more understanding before just throwing out comments about anything or anyone.
Yeah, I think it's just have a bit more consideration for what they actually know as facts versus what they assume. And I think again, there's so many things that go on in the background that
we have no clue. No clue.
Yeah, which is the beauty of being a fan, right?
Completely. But do you know what they say? When you assume, you made an ass out of you and me.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's why we decided to do this, so we were more foolish
Exactly.
Right?
Completely.
Yeah. But that's where the opportunity arises for those great managers to get in touch with us and say, "Hey guys, listen, it'd be great to join your podcast and educate you and anyone else who wants about what we do." Right? Yeah.
We would like it for some education and really help us on the Mauritian scene to get football back. You know, you could put that on your CV.
Yeah. By the way, you could. This is an interesting thing, and I'm just bringing this up because there was this story of this guy. I can't remember. It was a South American country. He was like guys like yourself, right? Like absolutely passionate about football, who end up getting employed by the association of that. I can't remember which country it was. Maybe Nicaragua, like one of those, either Central American or.
Fantastic. All right. We should play against Nicaragua, by the way, with Mauritius. We should try and get him in contact and get Mauritius to play Nicaragua.
They're definitely better than Mauritius.
Maybe the B team.
But they've got a lot of their players play. Anyways, in the MLS and whatnot. But so this guy, exactly, he was so fed up about his country being shit that he went on this kind of journey of researching players that had background, like somewhere, you know, grandmother, grandfather, ancestors somewhere that had a connection to the country. He was
over the world.
Yeah, literally. Like he was like on, you know, transfermarket.com and like everywhere. Like, he was Googling. There's the stories you can look it up. I forgot the guy's name. And he got to bring a bunch of players together that were playing in, you know, Bundesliga and this and that, etc. And now look.
Them to play for the national team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just because they had some kind of it's a bit like what the Mauritian government has tried to do with, you know, giving the diaspora tax-free 10 years. They should do the same thing in football, right? There's plenty of guys out there, even though in Australia, there's plenty of people that have a Mauritian grandparent here and actually play, you know, one of the A-League coaches is Mauritian, Kisnorbo.
Wow.
Yeah, he coaches Melbourne City, which is a
all right.
Man
City. The pod.
we should try, which is a Man City
owned.
Yeah. So a guy like this, you know,
Wow,
like he's coaching here. He'd probably love to coach Mauritius when he's retiring or something.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and he probably knows a lot of players in the country that have some Mauritian background. And I'm not saying that those guys would be any better than what we have in Mauritius. I'm just saying, you know, we've got 1.2 million Mauritians in Mauritius. There's probably another 1.2 somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So
we should start the journey somewhere.
We should just we should just flag on this podcast that if they are interested in representing Mauritius, they should get in touch.
Yeah, exactly. I'll provide accommodation in Cook. No worries.
Yeah.
Free accommodation.
Yeah. And it's only 3 games a year you play anyways because you get knocked out from the World Cup. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. You have to play the qualifiers of the qualifiers to get into the World Cup, and even then you get knocked out. So yeah. To be honest, though, I would love to see Mauritius at least make it to the African Cups of Nations. You know?
That would be fantastic, but we have to find a way. It's
yeah. I mean, if Comoros can get to the African Cups of Nations, you know, it's shameful that we can't.
Then, would you play with an identity or would you play to win? Okay, if you have to get Mauritius to the African Cup of Nations,
yeah,
what manager would you pick? Let's on that. You can have any managers in the world right now, present.
Well, whoever brought them into the African Cup of Nations, they should keep their job.
No, they have a contract of 3 or 4 years to get to the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
You can have any managers in the world right now, present.
Yeah.
Who would you pick for Mauritius?
Gareth Southgate.
Oh my God.
Listen, he's taken England from like chokers to semi-chokers.
Fucking Southgate.
Why not? He's got a nice waistcoat.
No. I'm getting Jose.
Yeah. I still want to have Dalpuris in Mauritius. He'll just cut all of that up. No, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I know who I'd pick. I don't know if there's any manager who's interested in managing in the.
No, we're assuming that you can have any managers in the world to coach Mauritius.
Yeah, yeah. I'd pick Jurgen Klopp.
Really?
Yeah. I think he'll bring some passion. He'll bring some identity. He'll bring some engagement. I think he'll make people believe in the project, and I think that's what we need. Is the players to believe and the actual country to believe, and players play for him. So,
I just want to say that.
So here you go. No, I mean, yeah. If you want someone to be so charismatic, I think he's definitely charismatic. Yeah.
I just think I would pick Mourinho just because I know that he could stand up with everything around the football to get that team to where he wants. He would do anything by hook or by crook to get Mauritius to that. And I'm not speaking only on footballing terms, but there's a lot of issues in and around football.
Yeah.
And I think Jose would get that sorted.
Yeah, possibly. I think he'll be
he's also very charismatic. Let's not and beat around the bush. Jose Mourinho is someone that is very, very charismatic.
I don't mind Jose. I just think he's a bit. I just think he's just more short-term goals. And if that's what you're looking for, fair enough. I think
what I like is Klopp is not very diplomatic. Klopp can get sometimes.
Jose is diplomatic.
Jose can be diplomatic.
Yeah.
So if he has a sort of group, and he's circle and he manages to build that it's me against the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And in this group, he can make them feel that they can do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see Jose Mourinho in a press conference in Mauritius saying, "Aster Chacha."
Imagine Jose finishing qualifying and be like, "Aster Chacha, Aster 3 times, please."
That'd be good. I think we should end on this. This is a dream, and we can teach him Creole.
Perfect ending. Well, thank you very much for your time, Vince.
Oh, pleasure, man. Like, it sounds good. Listen, yeah, always fun times and good to catch up.
Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
So bye from the Vince and Zeid Podcast.
See you later. On va mettre le jingle prochaine fois.
Ouais, non, mon petit, c'est eh ben, puis les temps, c'est là good.
Ouais.
Et t'as mis ta.
Hey, pour bien, moi stop recording là, c'était.
Ouais, tu restes stop. Mon petit,